listening to Second Wind with Joyce Buford, where women who are ready to expand their life adventure discover the tools to stop playing small and tap into the courage required to enjoy their second wind. Welcome. Good morning, afternoon, or wherever you are in this beautiful world of ours. I am so happy that you are here, and I'm really curious, how was Christmas? Was it fun? Was it cold? Was it snowy? Was it full of happiness? I do hope so for each of you. So I am excited that you are here today. You know that I really do look forward to my time with you and sharing my guests with you. So I'm looking forward to a very exciting 2023, and I know you all have too. Have you made your goals for this year? I do hope you get on to that, because that's very important in accomplishing what you want to do this year. So we'll have some time to talk about goals, not today, but very important that you do spend some time reflecting on what you want to create in 2023. So let me tell you about our guest today. I'm very excited, and she comes far, far away from Smoothlee Farm, Cheshire, United Kingdom. Oh my goodness, welcome, welcome, welcome. But let me tell you about Jean Macdonald. She is the Midlife Midwife. Now, Jean is author, educator, and blogger. And do you have a podcast also, Jean?
Oh yes, when I can,
yes.
I do some of my own as well.
Oh, yes. So she's very involved in promoting herself as well. But Jean worked in the business and marketing for many years and then founded a multi-million-dollar business in northwest of England. Now, today, she is very busy writing self-development books and self-publishing them and running several educational enterprises. Jean believes that midlife women can change society and the world when they believe in themselves. And I say, Yahoo, that is so true, Jean. She also believes so much is that she has created a new Midlife Women Community. So we're going to be spending some time, because you will be able to take advantage of some that she offers through Facebook and her other entities. So welcome, Jean. I am delighted to have you here on Second Wind.
Thank you so much. It's delightful and wonderful to be here, Joyce. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, I'm delighted. Now, because you're so far away from us, what is it like today in your town?
It's raining. It's rained most of the day. But then I live very near Manchester, and Manchester has the reputation of being the rainy city.
Well, if you're in Texas, you'd be right at home, because that seems to be what we're having as well. So,
oh, really?
But why are you so committed to the midlife of women?
Well, I'll tell you how it started. I was determined in around about 2015 to write a book about middle-aged people and their intimate relationships, let's call it, because it's something that was a hidden subject. I mean, one's children believe that after a certain age you didn't bother anymore and whatever, but I knew of many couples who were very happy with their relationship and others who were very unhappy. And so that was the starting point. At one stage it was going to be called something like Intimate Relationships Over 50. But in the course of this concept of the midlife woman emerged. Now, I can't claim originality with that. It comes from Marianne Williamson and her book, The Age of Miracles, I think it's called, published about 2005. And she talks about this midlife zone, which opens up for women between being a young woman and being a middle-aged woman. Nobody voluntarily wants to be a middle-aged woman. So there's actually a window of 20, 30 years perhaps between the two, which deserves examination, because if you look around, you can see it happen. You can see women reinventing themselves, and they're certainly a long way from being middle-aged.
Yes.
So
Right.
I spent the last nearly 10 years, I suppose, on developing the window, getting understanding, and over again, women say to me, "Oh yes, that happened to me. I wish I'd known what you know now, or what you're telling us now, when it happened."
Mhm.
That's why.
That's why you created it. It needed to be built, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm definitely your audience. I'm in your age audience, I would assume. I'm in my 70s. And so anyway, I'm like, this is so important. And I have become very, very involved with awakening the women in their middle or upper middle ages that life really isn't over. There's so much out there that we can do. And it's helping them
Absolutely.
awaken, because they once had it, but it kind of went to bed or went to sleep because they had so many other things they had to do, raise a family, husband, so forth. And so their lives were kind of one of commitment to do for others. Now it's their time to have this time. So I'm cheering you on here, because I think it's a wonderful torch to pick up and go on. Now, how have you built your you have courses, you have books, you have kind of give me the idea of how somebody that's looking at your opportunities that you have, how they can find you, and what they would find on, for instance, Facebook, because you have a big community on Facebook.
Indeed, yes. I have to say, in answer to your question, Joyce, it is a mess. I've been creating stuff for the last, since I wrote 2015. It's not so long off now, 8 years. And so then I created courses on how to find love in middle life. Then there was another series of them about changing gender roles. There's another one called Men and Women Are Different. These are all aimed to help women coming into this phase, this middle life phase, to get to understand, because they weren't necessarily, let's say nobody's educated in that sort of thing at school, because
Right.
it's way beyond it. And after that, but the whole world changes as you move into middle life. And as you say, it's a reinvention process. So to understand what's going on and the bigger picture, because we are all affected by what goes on it's not just the media, public opinion, and public opinion needs to change, is changing. I hope I'm contributing to that. So to answer your question, I'm determined now to bring everything together in what we call the Midlife Butterfly Club.
Yes,
Now,
I love that name.
Thank you. Well, it's a very good analogy for the transformation from being a young woman, it's a younger woman, to a midlife woman. It's the difference between being a caterpillar, very much following the requirements of that age range, into being a butterfly, where you choose where you fly.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that so much. Yes, you can choose.
So I'm bringing all these things that I've created during this sort of intensely creative period. I've always found it easier to create stuff rather than go back and organize it. But I'm determined now to make it available. So when people join the Butterfly Club in our resource center, which is supposed to be a more attractive name than library, or is to have everything in there. So they can go through, pick and choose, do things. But we'll also be doing guiding, running webinars and things like that, to say in the resource center there's this, because if you go into the average library, I'm sure it's the same where you live, there's just so many books, you don't know where to start. So our aim is to give people some starting points.
So if someone wanted to find the Midlife Butterfly Club, they would go to your Facebook page, correct?
Well, let's say, that is a route, and that's actually quite a good route, because before people commit themselves to subscribing to the Butterfly Club, they probably want to get some idea of what we're all about. Yes. So the community on the Facebook, which is it's free to join, and it's not a lot to join the Butterfly Club, but before people make that commitment, we want them to get a feel of what we're about, what we're offering, get some of the wisdom, get a feel from other members what they've got from it. And Facebook's great for doing that, but we've structured the Facebook group rather differently from what other people use it for, because it seemed to me it'll do the job better, which is that people aren't particularly encouraged to put family and friends and things like that stuff on there, because our audience is really hungry for information, we believe. And therefore, I have a number of experts who produce posts and things like that. We agree them beforehand, and then we tailor them to go onto the, both into the Butterfly Club and extracts from it to go into the Facebook group. So people beforehand what they're getting into.
Well, then do you suggest they start on your website? Would that be a better place to start?
Well, no, I would say go to the Facebook group.
Okay.
The New Midlife Woman.
I want to give them the Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/groups/27115730199565513. Is there another way to find your website?
Oh yes, there is. But I with that long number, which I know there's a 13 at the end, so I'm pretty sure if you've got that number somewhere, it is the right number. But if you just go to groups and put in New Midlife Woman, that will bring up our community. We're top of the list.
Very good. Oh, that's much better. I could hardly read all those numbers.
yeah, it's all right if you're going to copy and paste, and we put that on the bottom of our emails. But for normal purposes, just go and search New Midlife Woman, and you may need to put community. I think pretty sure we come up as New Midlife Woman Community without any more words.
Okay, very good. Now, I do want to share that your website is also www.newmidlifewomen.org. Is
this
that
is hot news? This is since December. It's not that long ago. It's now been. Yeah, okay. It's now www.midlifebutterflyclub.org.
Oh, very good. Okay. Well, she was telling me before we went on the air that there were some changes, but I was going by old pages. I do apologize. So, but you've corrected it. So,
well, let's say it's very hot off the press. We decided we could abandon that, go straight to the Butterfly Club, because you go on there, there's information there without committing yourself to the Butterfly Club. There's information about the club, about the community, and so on, that supplements what's on Facebook.
Right.
So people are welcome to go there and explore.
Yes. So tell us some of the information that they would find by going to the Butterfly Club.
Well, let me just put it in context.
Okay.
I believe, well, I've said, and you've kindly said, midlife women go through a transition, and they do whether they like it or not. But that transition can be a transformation, which can turn them into something they really want to be, a really satisfactory second half of their lives. Yes. But it's the transformation is rarely straightforward, because midlife women are beset by many issues and problems that get in the way and bog them down and hold them back. And it can very easily suffocate, at least short term anyway, their aspirations to do something more. And they think, oh, well, I'm too busy with it can be family, as you said, or it can be issues, or it can be remains of a career. So what I've done is identify 6 broad areas which hold women back, and then I'll tell you what they are, and then I'll come back and say a little bit more about the general thing. Health is the first one. So we know that our bodies change in middle life, and it's not just the perimenopause. There are quite a few other changes, some set off by the perimenopause, but others would happen anyway. So health is an issue, and when I say our bodies previously served us very well without much maintenance. Yes. If we hit the thing, we now have to take care of them much more, supplement them with things they no longer can do for themselves, to meet the demands of our lives. So health is very important. Without that health, everything else is so much harder.
Yeah.
Now, the second area is finance. Many women, having been in good relationship, partnerships, and so forth, have not had to worry about money particularly. But when they get to middle life, they're well advised to start looking and thinking in that direction, because nobody knows what the future is. And so, therefore, if they have their own source of independent income, that puts them in a much better position to do whatever they want to do in later life. So that could be either securing an income from scratch or managing a well-paid career. A lot of women have been very successful, but find that they beginning to get them down or wear them down or whatever. But then they're used to living on that income as well. So it's a problem of how to readjust to possibly managing with less income. So that's the secondary, finance. The third one is the intimate relationship. And again, unfortunately, in middle life, that can be beset by illness, divorce, death, infidelity, or boredom.
Yeah.
So any or all of those things could start to, and again, we try to give women help, an idea what's going on, and that the issues they're having are not unique to them. That's a big thing, that all of these things happen to lots of people. The third one is confidence. It's like losing the old persona. This is about shedding, like caterpillar, shedding the old life of when we were, well, let's say whatever you were, but let's hopefully you enjoyed it at the time, but didn't think too much about it. Now, as you lose your old persona of a young woman, unless you consciously create it, you feel, oh, there's no replacement. What future have I got? I've done until my children have grown up, and all these kind of things can cause a loss of confidence. And as you quite rightly said, women have this capacity to reinvent themselves, find a new persona, and really take off in a new role. But it's confidence that holds them back. And then when the other issues come leaning in, they say, oh, well, I've got time now because I've got to do this, I've got to look after that, and so on. So all these things do conspire, if you like, to put off facing up to what's necessary to launch into a new life.
Right. One of the common ones I feel that women say to themselves way too much is, I'm too old to start anything new. I'm too old. Look at me. I'm too old. My kids don't think I can do anything. I can't drive anymore, or I can't do this or that, or I'm always going to the doctor's. And they just put it aside as though it's not important. And it is important. It is their life they're talking about. They have to get back on some clarity about where they want their life to be. And they have to get that confidence. And the only way you get confidence is by going out there and doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I feel for women that have never worked outside of the home, that all of a sudden are thrown into working or finding somehow they'll maybe, if their husband dies, they inherit the handling of the money, which they've had no participation in. And it's like Greek. And they rely totally upon family members or finance people that they don't know. And they're talking over their head. So it's no wonder that they would feel very insecure.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's when your butterfly group would be so wonderful. They need a community to help them rebuild.
Yeah, and we have I've recruited a number of what I call experts, people who have specialist knowledge, because I certainly can't try to do everything. And so we have a financial advisor in there. That's the English equivalent. I'm sure you have a different terminology for it in the States. But, someone who knows, but she's a woman, and she's used to taking women in exactly the same sort of situation. They find themselves suddenly in an unexpected situation, and they don't know really what they're doing. And she is definitely not the kind of person who will talk over people's head, which, I
love that she's a she.
yeah.
Because there is that sort of equal when we're talking to a woman that we feel more confident or we're a little more comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a book which I recommend, which is by a journalist in this country, who in it she says women are far better money managers either than they realize and very often than men.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Well, that's not what our husbands told us.
Well, what would they know?
No. So true. We never knew about their losses, did we?
No, that's true.
No. So, do you have some sort of idea of how large your butterfly club has grown? Because it's
But
been in existence how long?
no, the Butterfly Club itself has only been in existence a matter of weeks
Oh,
because, oh, yes, that's right. I mean, the concept was there. We've had it for 6 months, but getting a website that really functioned and did what we want it to do has
wow.
been very demanding because the thing is, there are lots of websites which are full of lots of stuff, but you just so quickly get indigestion that you get bored with it. Our determination is that we should keep people's interest and feed them bits. So we run an online magazine. And
Okay.
that means every few days we put up a new short article by
Mhm.
one of our experts or by me or somebody interested in who I come across as a one-off. And that is a bit like a magazine, it is like a magazine,
Yeah.
except it's online. So we encourage, and the thing is, we don't load it down with loads and loads of back articles and things like that. It's only ever got 8 articles on at a time. And when you put on a new one drops off the end. So it's a bit like, you've got to, we say, come every week, have a look what's on there, read the articles of interest, and then comment on those, and then come back next week. Or, it's because it's designed to be habit forming. We want women to be plugging into us regularly in order to pick up whatever's going that they find helpful, even if something isn't relevant to their needs now. The fact that they see something about something else later on, that might become relevant, and then they can come back to us and we can see what we can find to help them.
Okay. Tell me again, would they go to the website or the Facebook page?
Well, they're welcome to go to the website, the Midlife Butterfly Club.
But the main one is the Facebook.
Well, that's the way you can really feel if you like the community. I mean,
Yeah.
Otherwise you're just like going through a blind entry, really. Whereas if they've already been involved with the group, and in the group, we'll be telling them what's going on in the Butterfly Club. So that would further spice their interest, I hope.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, I wanted to clarify that because I got lost and maybe someone else did. So, so the Facebook is the place to go.
Yes, please. But the trouble is with Facebook is that that's why we can't do as much in Facebook as we might like to. We need our website, is because Facebook only shows stuff to a limited part of our group. So we've got getting on for 400 members, but it will only show something. Put a post up, there's maybe 25 to 50 of them. The others don't see it unless they come. Oh, yes.
Oh.
Unless they come specifically. But then, we're all busy people and we're on Facebook and you forget. So that's what we want to build our thing, because we can also email people saying, well, we're just putting this up in the Butterfly Club. Last week, we've had an article from so-and-so in the Butterfly Club, which it's a better way of communicating because, as I said, Facebook is quite random in the people it will show things to, even if they're members of a group.
Mm-hmm. So they would go to the Facebook to join, correct?
Yes, yeah, or to learn a little bit about it. And then there'll always be buttons there to press to take them to the join page, which is part of the same page as the Midlife Butterfly Club. Right. So they might well go to the Butterfly Club page, read through it, see the join buttons and say, well, I don't know enough about it yet, so I won't commit myself. And then they can click and go and join the Facebook group. And then a few weeks later, maybe they might be ready to join.
Oh, yes, yes. After they see you are on all of the pages like Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, but you're much stronger on Facebook. But what do you have on YouTube?
Oh, yes. Well, we're using YouTube more. As I do maybe 1 or 2 videos a month. Like I did one, we did a program called 12 Days of Stressmas prior to Christmas, because that's the most demanding.
Very clever, very clever.
So I did a video to introduce that, and that's on our YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm not necessarily, and I always do the videos. They're never more than 10 minutes, and they're rarely more than 5 minutes, because midlife women are the busiest people on the planet. That's one thing I always say. They haven't got time to sit and watch long videos. And so
Right.
I would script them first and do them from the script, so I'm not taking more time than I need to get across what I have to say.
Right. Yes. Right. Well, what for you has been the most satisfying in your journey of creating this very important group?
Well, it's always when someone comes back to you and said, that thing you said or that thing I saw changed not necessarily my life, but changed my perception of something. And from there, I'm now doing things differently, or I see that I need to do things differently. It's really gratifying if you can do that. And it's not that midlife women, as I said, are so busy, they don't have time to read books or long courses and things like that. You've got to give things in bite-sized chunks. So it could be you throw out a seed, and weeks or months later, somebody sees it and it helps them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is humbling to know that you have affected someone else's life that was hurting, right?
Yeah.
I've found that in my work as well. So you have the age that you find that you're working with the most is 45 to 55?
Yes, but there are exceptions, younger and older, because awareness of the change, and it used to be called, in the old days, certainly in this country, the euphemism was for the menopause, which people never mentioned, was the change of life.
That's true. We never talked about that.
Yeah. So this truly is a change of life, with or without the menopause, although the menopause is pretty unescapable. But it's a lot more. Some women are led to believe, often by their doctors, that once they can allay the symptoms of the menopause, everything go back to what it was before. Well, it won't.
I know. It's aging is so many surprises.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Oh my. Okay. So you have also another list of things that I thought maybe if you don't want to do all 7 of them, do you remember you listed on here the 7 mistakes midlife women often make?
Oh, right.
Their ideal partner.
Yeah. That was a video I made some years before, while I was, or prior to, creating the How to Find Love in Midlife course. And from memory, because I wasn't prepared for this question, was one is I'm a great believer in awareness of feminine power and masculine power. And so often women think, well, I'm not going to be, well, they feel maybe they should develop the masculine in themselves. I say that's not helpful, particularly finding a relationship. You have to develop the feminine. And the feminine is far from weak. The feminine is strong, but it's very subtle. And as we know, when we don't want something, we want to persuade someone, we draw on considerable powers of persuasion, don't we? That is using our feminine power rather than saying, banging a fist, banging the table and saying, this is what I want. In the same thing in finding a relationship, most men who are worth anything do not want to be with a strong macho woman. They're too much. It's not necessarily competition. That's not what they're looking for. So developing one's femininity is important. So one of the things I remember is don't come across as being an aggressive woman. Don't give away your power. That's another thing. Women too, they're true trusting. There were women and men are so plausible. They come across with this sort of facade. But as you hear, I've heard so many women saying, well, he seemed all right to start with, but then I found all that was there if you knew how to look beforehand. So one of the things is don't deceive yourself. When there are hints or symptoms of the true character of the man underneath the facade, don't ignore those, because later on you will find that they manifest much more strongly.
Yeah.
However, anybody who joins the club will make sure that available to them will be the 7 mistakes. Short video, 8 minutes, I think. It goes through all of those 7 mistakes.
Yeah. And then you've probably already done a video on this one, 12 frequently asked questions about midlife womanhood.
Yes, yeah, that's something I've done quite recently, in the last 3 months. Because again, one of the questions when women arrive at this stage of awareness of change, they think, well, am I really a midlife woman? What's it all about, being a midlife woman? Can I avoid being a midlife woman? All these kind of things. And so the aim was to,
I don't think there's a question there. You are.
that's right. Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
That's right. But some people make a better job of it than others. I mean, this is part of the education process to help women to find their feet and believe in themselves, as you said, that the world's their oyster. And it is. I mean, if you look at some of the fantastic women we have both in the States and over here and other countries too, who are doing a fantastic job in middle to later life. They're self-created. You know, they've done it on their own. They didn't need us. But lots of others have not quite got that level of confidence or even ambition at this stage. So that's what we're here for, to support them.
One of the things that I am very aware of in women is many times in our younger life with children, raising children, we become very involved on organizations, helping organizations raise money, helping organizations run that don't have paid staff. And so sometimes I think women forget that is a wonderful quality to have going into business. I mean, you know, or working with a nonprofit, you can even get a job knowing that information for a nonprofit. And they do have skills, whether they think they do or not.
Well, I mean, one of the skills that they've most underrate is managing a household budget, which most women have to do. And then going on, as you say, applying some of those skills, because they're so practical. They say, well, if we've not got money coming in here, we can't afford that. You know, they look at everything as balancing the budget. And that is a very worthwhile skill.
Let me ask you kind of a naive question here. I'm in US, you all are in England, so you're working with different money. Does that come across in the explanation of some of the management?
No, not really, because a pound and dollar these days isn't that different. And
yes, but we call it different names.
Oh yeah, we do call it different names. And but the last few months have been a wake up in that I have to pay certain bills in dollars, and before that I would have a tidy amount left over from the pounds equivalent. Now it's very slim.
Really? That's interesting.
Well, we had a disastrous government change in the autumn, and the cumulative effect of their results was a run on the pound, and the pound dropped in value against the dollar quite significantly. And although it's climbing back slowly, it got to a point where it was nearly £1 equals $1.
Yeah.
Not quite, but within cents of that.
I see. We've all got government issues, haven't we? I'm sorry to say. Everybody needs to be dealing with something.
But so, let's say we quote our price. I mean, if somebody goes to join the Butterfly Club, it currently costs, got a special offer at the moment, it costs £9 or $12. Well, that's at the moment, that's been what I've had. But PayPal always will convert the pounds into dollars, so that somebody knows exactly what we're paying out into.
Well, we're coming to the end of our time together, and I want to make sure that you have shared those things that you felt your audience needed to get to you. It's very important that I want these women to connect with you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Well, I can only say that you and I speak the same language, even though we've never met before. All the things that you said, I thought, oh, I wish I'd said that. So you put it so well. I hope some of the things that I've said would also resonate with you, in that we're a part of a movement, a worldwide movement that's bringing midlife women out of the shadows, because although there are some brilliantly successful women in their own right, there are many more hanging back because of all the reasons that we've touched on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I certainly do appreciate that you reached out to Second Wind and that we were able to connect and share this message. And I am really going to speak briefly to my audience, and then you and I can chat a little bit more. But I am so grateful for you for reaching out to us so that we could have this, so they could know you're out there. I want them to know there are so many people out there fighting for the women in midlife. We are fighting for them, correct?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to be interviewed by you.
Thank you. All right. Now, my dear ones out there, this is a new perspective and a new opportunity for you to expand. Go to this website, to the Facebook page, and see what's there. See how Jean has approached on her website and her information that she gives, how she has approached the midlife woman. It's very important that we stay open to exploring, because that is how you're going to grow. And I want you to grow. So that's my only, I always kind of give you a little assignment. That's my only assignment, is to take the time to reach out, grow a little bit, see what Jean has on her Facebook page. So thank you for being here today. I hope your week is smooth, getting back into the after Christmas time, and you have a wonderful week. So thank you for being here today. It's always a pleasure to know you're here. Thank you. See you next week.
Joyce Buford returns next week at the same time for another edition of Second Wind. Through the Joyce Buford Empowerment System, women are receiving the support they need through their transitions and are able to reclaim their true purpose with confidence. They receive the tools they need to map out new lives. You can find out more about her coaching services at joycebufordempowers.com.